Okay, so for the sake of reviewing some of the concepts in Chapter 7, I have extracted one of the questions that's in our review questions. So if you look at the Test 2 review questions, you're going to find the last question there is number 21, and I've replicated the chart right here. So this is how we're going to calculate all of these different costs that we're going to look at within the firm, right? So look at the chart, right? So at the beginning here, we've got the increments of labor. So in this case, it is hours of labor. So we have 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, all the way down. So that's just units of labor. This is units of production. How many units are produced by, when we have 1 labor hour, it's 120. When we have 2, we have 280. And then we're going to go through here and we're going to calculate the rest. We have enough information on this chart to completely fill it. We just need to know roughly what we're doing. So, the average product. How are we going to calculate the average product? So what are we talking about when we're saying average product of labor, right? So on average, what is each labor hour producing for us? So we're going to take the total product, and we're going to divide it by the amount of labor. So here we've got 0 over 0 is 0. 120 divided by 1 is going to give us 120 as our average product. 140 here. 410 divided by 3 is going to be 136.67. 520 divided by 4. And remember, so that's what we're doing here, 130, and then we've got 580 divided by 5, right? 580 units, 5 units of labor, on average of 116 per unit. Okay, 620 divided by 6 is going to be 103 and a third. 640 divided by 7 is going to be 91-ish. I'm just rounding out the decimal. 640 divided by 8 equals 80, right? So we've got, so what are we doing here? We're taking our average product, so we're taking the total amount produced and dividing it by the number of labor hours. Now here, we want the marginal product. And if you remember, the word marginal means like how much are we adding? By adding an extra unit, how much are we getting? So we're going to take it's the change in the total product over the change in the amount of labor. Now in this case, the change is always 1. So really, what it is going to be is the change in the total product. So how much additional production are we getting by adding each of these extra hours of labor? Well, here we don't even have to do it. We've added 1. It's led to 120. So we have 120 is the marginal product, the additional product, right? Number 2, by adding the second, we've gone from 120 to 280, so we have added 160, right? To go from 280 to 410, we're using 1 more unit of labor. We've got 130, right? To go from 410 to 520, right? We've added 110. To go from 520 to 580, we're adding 60. 580 to 620 is adding 40. 620 to 640 is adding 20. And 640 to 640 is a marginal product of 0. Now you can see you know, the way that this increases, right? Like we get a lot more out of the first one, we get quite a bit more out of the second one, but then our additional amount of product that we receive starts to decline after the second unit, right? After the second unit of labor, we add another unit of labor and we get less additional product as a result. You know, think about that. Think about that. Like with the same amount of stuff, the same amount of machinery, adding units of labor will add to your total product. It does add. This is going up consistently until you get here, but it adds less as you go along. That's what we call the law of diminishing marginal returns. And you know that yourself. If you've had a job, you know, sometimes you're working by yourself and then you wish you had a second person. The second person comes along and then between the two of you, you're able to produce a lot more. Then maybe a third person comes along and you're kind of waiting for the use of the machine. So yeah, you're getting a little more, but it's less. You know, add a fourth person and it almost seems like there are too many chefs in the kitchen. Add 5, add 6, add 7. You know, your law of diminishing marginal returns, that additional amount of productivity that you're going to get out of additional units of labor is going to decline. So that's something that we generally notice about the way these costs behave. So now we've done these and we've got the average product and we've calculated the marginal product. Now in the next video I'm going to continue the rest and we're going to look at these costs. We're going to make some assumptions about the costs and we're going to add up those.